For this project, we were sent some Elegoo water-washable resin, so a big thank you to Elegoo for supporting the channel. With the resin supplied to me, I wanted to do something fun. How much Warhammer can you print with 1 litre of resin? But first, I needed to see what I wanted to print. I found this Tyranid Boarding Patrol box set. I just needed a Broodlord, 6 Warriors, and 8 Gene Stealers. I had sourced these NID files a long while ago from a creator I think was called Virus or Death from memory. First print looked to have come out perfect, but there was something that didn't print, so we will need to check that out. Turns out some of the Broodlord parts failed, but the rest of the warriors look fantastic. That worked out great for me because you never know how pre-supported models will go until you print them. On closer inspection, printing at the 0.05 layer height seems to have worked well, but we will need to clean the vat for the next lot of prints. I usually place a leftover piece of support so I have something to hold onto. This just makes it easier to pull up the cured layer all in one go. After washing the parts, it's time to cure. I usually go for around 4.5 minutes to around 5. Works better for me. I don't want them to be too brittle. The warriors look good. I have to say, I am surprised how close these look compared to GW originals. There are some dedicated artists out there. Having said that, it is time to load another build plate for the Gene Stealers and the Broodlord that failed on the last plate. The rest of the Broodlord parts printed out fine, and the Gene Stealers were not too bad either. Support removal can be one of the most enjoyable bits about 3D printing. When it is done right, the supports will peel away with ease. Most times I will dunk the part in some hot water and remove the supports that way. There has to be something said for those who take the time to make sure the support work is just as good as the miniature they are sculpting. So far, the Tyranids have come together well, and it is cool to see something come from a file on the computer to a solid form. This technology we now have access to has opened up so many doors for other artists. I wonder where we'll be in another 10 years' time. The Tyranid box set didn't use a lot of resin, well, except for the failed prints I had along the way. And I wanted more, so I thought having the Space Wolves as the opposing faction would be cool to have an army. So I did the same thing with them and went with the Boarding Patrol box set contents. I was actually getting kind of concerned, and what I mean by that is I had originally thought I would have went through a large amount of resin, but it turned out that I could have kept going and made a decent sized army for both factions. This first plate printed for the Space Wars, and they came out perfect. Just perfect. Remember, this was printed at the standard layer height, and I could only imagine the quality you would get with a lower layer height and even an 8K printer. These Space Wars do come pre-supported, but my mate Zeke went back and did his own supports on these miniatures. He did such a fantastic job. Thanks, Zeke. These are going to be a blast to paint up. With the majority of the Space Dwarfs done, I still had way over half a bottle of resin still, and so far for $29 bottle of resin, I have saved around 400 Australian dollar dues. I wanted more, but not enough to print out another faction. So I picked out a vehicle for the Space Dwarfs. This will be the first time I've printed a vehicle, and to be honest, I was a little bit worried that it won't print. There is nothing better than coming home to a print that worked. Well, for the most part. You may have noticed the lack of wheels. Not sure what happened there because one printed but the rest said no. That's fine. I'll go back and just add some heavier supports. It could have had something to do with maybe my faster print settings. I think having prints fail is just a part of the hobby. There can be so many different factors that can stop a print from succeeding. It is just really important that you understand about cleaning out your vat before chucking another print on. Some simple maintenance can help you continue to print over and over again, and making sure you don't puncture your FEP. This is something I don't see a lot of people using. This funnel is from an auto shop and comes with a filter. Set me back around $3, but has saved me a lot. I am all about simplifying your process to clean out the printer. As you can see, sometimes the vat clean function doesn't get everything. This was all printed on the Elegoo Saturn 4K. I purchased myself a long time ago, and I can't fault it, she's a workhorse. This Loctite gel super glue is freaking amazing. It is thick enough to hold the parts in place while it cures. If you do have trouble with gluing resin parts, I would suggest that you sand the connections for a better bond. I still can't get over the quality of 3D printing. It is truly the way of the future for wargamers, and will only get better and more accessible in the future. What are your thoughts on the hobby? Where do you think we will be in the next 10 years? Will 3D printing change the way we obtain our miniatures? I guess only time will tell. I, for one, will be right there with you. Enough of that. Let's see some B-roll of the completed miniatures. I've printed out 2 boarding patrol boxes, Tyranids and the Leagues of Votan. With an extra vehicle, I still had over 200 mils of resin, even with the failed prints. At the time of filming this video, Games Workshop actually still had the boarding patrol boxes, but now they're just completely vanished. So lucky me. If you're still this far in the video, please hit that like button and check out this other video I did on 3D printing versus a Space Marine. Cheers guys.